When you're looking at these television shows like Million Dollar Listing, what is it really like to be in luxury real estate?
I think the $1 million, it's funny that you ask, because we've had this conversation. I think the $1 Million Listing show is a TV show. I don't want to say that it's not true or real, but it's geared to an audience, and it almost fosters the public's opinion of a real estate professional, and oftentimes it's not very attractive.
So would you say that what would be the greatest misconception of working in luxury real estate, being a very successful, prominent agent within luxury real estate?
I think they make it look very easy and unreal, and I think they focus a lot on the income. And I don't know that I've watched the show from start to finish, but I think that's one of the misconceptions, is to be in luxury real estate, it's basically easy money. And so everybody should do it.
But it's not.
But it's not.
Okay. So what does it actually take to become as successful as Ann Brizolis?
Well, thank you for that compliment, first of all. I think people have misconceptions about a lot of other people's businesses, and I think the grass is always greener is a very common misconception. And what it takes organization, it takes discipline, it takes tenacity, it takes a drive, and it takes a passion.
So how would you distinguish a real estate agent and a business professional that happens to work in the field of real estate? Is there a difference?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess it's the discipline, and I guess it's the organization. And a business person will approach the business from a business standpoint. But you need both. You need a balance. It's very much a balancing act of a business plan, and you have to have the creativity also.
Do you think that you could be as successful as you are had you not been able to structure the team that supports you to go in the direction that you want to go towards? And how do you build a successful team in this business?
For me, starting out, first of all, I didn't have a team.
Mm-hmm.
I did everything, and that was many years ago, and it was a very different business. It was paper, the idea of advertising was all paper. It wasn't electronic. There wasn't an internet. I don't want to sound like a dinosaur, but it was a very different time. It was a very different time, and over the course of years, I realized that I couldn't do everything, and I'm not good at everything, which is also very important. You have to really focus on what are you really good at, and focus on that. And so I have developed what I think is a very strong team of people that are really good in their certain disciplines. And then in order to be able to leverage, I have brought in sales associates over the years, because again, I can't be in all communities at all times, and it allowed me to really strengthen my core business, but then leverage my time.
So let's go back to your 25-year-old self, right? So if you're 25 years old getting into this business, in this industry, and your goal is to become who you are today, knowing all that you know, how would you begin?
Back in the day, when I was first in the business, the cell phones were like a small suitcase, and the batteries didn't last forever, and it was just very different. It was just a very different dynamic, and things were done very differently. So we have so much opportunity right now to be able to capitalize on all the technology, which really allows you to focus more with the client and being with the client, which I find a lot of people aren't doing. They're hiding behind email, they're hiding behind text messages, and a lot of times they'll send a text message or an email instead of picking up the phone, talking to the client, or meeting face to face, which I'm still a big advocate of, and you've heard me say this, that this is a contact sport.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like it's a fine dance between increasing your visibility but never losing sense of that face to face. So how do you balance that?
It's a total balancing act, constantly. And the other thing that I would say is a balancing act is to not be so consumed, because you can, once your business starts to take momentum, you can lose sight of yourself, you can lose sight of your health, you can lose sight of your family, you can be immersed, you can become addicted, is what can happen. And you really have to balance, and you really have to set aside time for yourself. And again, working out, eating. I know real estate agents that don't eat all day, and it's just not a good thing. And they don't look after themselves, and they don't look good, or they're overweight, or they don't dress well, or it's a whole package. And it's balancing, but it's like that, I guess, in any industry. I don't think real estate is different. I just think that we get really caught up in what we're doing.
Okay, Anne, what would be 3 points of advice that you would give a younger agent that they could implement immediately starting their career?
The first thing I would do is, everybody's got a circle of influence, whether it's the people that you went to school with, the people in your church group, the people at the gym. If you have a hobby that you do things with other people, identify who you want to reach out to, identify your circle, identify your audience, and then pick your preferred method of reaching out to them in social media, however that is. And I think that gives you an instant connection. And of course, your website is something that's going to be critical. You're going to have a very strong website, and that's going to be, but if you don't have that immediately, you could start by reaching out via social media.
Like, what's words of wisdom that you would share?
Be yourself, which sounds really simple. But be yourself, because then you're going to be comfortable. You're going to be, you'll always be comfortable. You'll never have to come up with a game plan, as far as if you just be yourself, and you're going to connect. You're not going to connect to everybody, first of all, and that's going to be the case no matter what you are and you do. So if you are yourself and you're comfortable with yourself, you're going to attract people that you're going to want to work with, they're going to want to work with you, and you're going to end up with a better result.
How do you stay motivated when the market shifts and things become more difficult?
I think it's really important to set goals for yourself. And whether that's in a good market or a bad market,